So today we have the last practical that is about the fertilizers and nutrient concentration. So it is not actually practical, it's just show that so which are the fertilizers which are used in agriculture, especially in Pakistan, and so what is the concentration of various nutrients. And the second part, so that is the kind of identification that oh, it looks like and how looks the different fertilizers. So we'll have a brief view on that. Fertilizer, it is a chemical or natural substance which is added to the soil to increase its fertility. Fertilizer are basically food for the plants, and the fertilizer helps farmers to feed our growing population because if the fertilizer will feed the plants, and of course the farmer will be able to get more yield and to feed the populations. And then plants require 17 elements, which we already discussed, and this in the soil to survive and to grow. Out of these, 14 are minerals and 3 are non-minerals, which can also be taken up from the atmosphere. Fertilizer helps to replenish these nutrients after each harvest because we are removing the nutrients from the soil in the form of product or agriculture commodity. So whatever is going out from the field, so fertilizers are basically to replenish that amount. So we have basically chemical fertilizers or synthetic fertilizers, or we have organic fertilizers. And if we look at the synthetic, we have urea, ammonium nitrate, uh, ammonium sulfate, anhydrous ammonia, aqua ammonia, mono ammonium phosphate, diammonium phosphate. So these all above there of nitrogen, and then we have NP, nitrogen and phosphorus both are here. And then we have again phosphatic fertilizers and then potassic fertilizers. So we have also some kind of uh, uh, compound fertilizers like NP and K. So they are formulated in various concentration as per requirement of different crops and plants. So urea is the main source of nitrogen to the agriculture, especially in Pakistan. That is 46%. Nitrogen is there. If a bag is of 50 kg, so it means you have a 23 kilogram nitrogen in that. Ammonium nitrate, that has 33%. Calcium ammonium nitrate is also being produced in Pakistan, and that has a relatively low concentration of nitrogen due to addition of calcium. Ammonium sulfate has a 21% nitrogen, ammonia has 82%, that is in the form of gas. Aqua ammonia, that is 21%, and monoammonium phosphate, that is 11 to 11% is nitrogen, and phosphorus is 46%, that is a major source. Description is given here, that has a relatively darker grayish color, so that you can observe from here. Diammonium phosphate, solid granular dark grayish, so that has 18% nitrogen. Sorry, this is DAP, not MAP. MAP has 11% nitrogen, as I mentioned earlier. Then we have a single superphosphate that has 16% to 22% phosphorus, and the triple superphosphate that is 44 to 53% phosphorus, and then we have potassium chloride that has 60 to 66% potassium, and the potassium sulfate that is 50 to 52%. So one thing should be in mind that when we say nitrogen, it is N. When we say P, so that is basically P2O5. That's not single P. That is P2O5. So whatever we have in the fertilizers, we generally calculate based on P2O5. So it means 46% is P2O5, and 46% is P2O5. Here, that is also P2O5. And potassium, that is K2O. So it is not single K, it is basically K2O. So in fertilizers, we use K2O, the oxides of potassium. So then we have organic fertilizers. We have mainly compost. So we have also farmyard manure as such can also be used. That is also an organic fertilizer source. Uh, in compost, we have already discussed in the theory class that at proper moisture and temperature conditions, the organic matter is decomposed and have more available nutrients. And the biofertilizers, so they are contain living organisms which, when applied to the seed, plant surface, or soil, they colonize the rhizosphere of the interior of the plant and the promotes growth. So there are some fertilizer which, for example, the rhizobium, they will work with the plants in association. They will form the nodules. There are some which can work without that. Some may be coated to the fertilizers, some may be coated to the seeds as well. So some may solubilize the nutrient in the soil, and then they become available. For example, the phosphorus solubilizing bacteria. So of course they have a very important role. We have rhizogold here at our university, at our institute exactly, and that is being used for that purpose. The concentration of nutrients in organic fertilizer, that is vary depending on what is the source of that. I have quoted here two examples. So one is from our own research, that is the poultry mortality compost, which we produce by composting dead birds and the poultry litter, and the other one, that is farmyard manure. So there is a lot of variation in the concentration. For example, the nitrogen is 3.35% in poultry mortality compost, and in farmyard manure is 0.5%. Phosphorus is also much variation. Potassium has also great variation. Copper is much high here in the poultry mortality compost. Iron is also 63 ppm, and so this value I got it. I still doubt, but I think this should be 450 is more appropriate, but it depends again on the what kind of farm yard manure is that. And then the zinc, that is 459 ppm was in poultry mortality compost, and farmyard is 40. So this is a great variation, but of course these are being utilized. So thank you very much.